Welcome again. A brief overview. We are going to be going over what the welcome letter looks like for our incoming first year students and what the upcoming deadlines are. We will go over a brief overview of the first year buildings. I'm going to touch on the meal plan options and what it looks like to pick a meal plan right now. I will go over some of the resources that are available as an incoming Pitt student. And then, like I said before, we will leave some time at the end for some Q&A. Okay, so you're a Pitt student, or you should be checking your Pitt email because housing would have sent you an email that says welcome to housing on campus, and it has a welcome letter attached to it. And in that letter, this grid is. So your deadline is actually in the email that we've sent you as well. So up until I believe this week, everyone's deadline is May 1st to complete your housing application. So you want to make sure that you have a completed housing application and your housing deposit paid by May 1st. Next, you want to make sure that you've also pre-submitted your photo for your Panther card by May 1st so that we have that on file and are able to either mail you your Panther card prior to arrival, or you're able to pick it up during arrival. And once you actually complete your housing application, you're then able to go on as many times as you want until June 1st to update your preferences. So those last two blocks on this grid, the roommate request and living learning community request, those actually don't need to be completed until June 1st. So you can create a roommate group and apply to an LLC all the way up until June 1st, because housing does not check or start assigning students until June 2nd. So you can update your preferences as many times as you want until June 1st. Okay, so a part of the housing application and the preferences are your building preferences for our incoming students. And this grid can actually be found on our website, but we like to use it to kind of give a brief overview of what it looks like for first year accommodations. So when students ask me what preferences they should put down on their building list, I like to kind of ask them what they're interested in as a student. So, do they want to have a roommate? If they want to have a roommate, how many roommates do they want to have? Do they want to have one? Do they want to have a couple? Because that kind of leans towards either a double or a suite style. But also, if they don't want a roommate, then they might want to preference a single on their housing application. And we do have a couple of buildings that have singles as a part of their accommodations. Other things to consider, are you looking for a communal bath? Do you want a semi-private bath? Are you interested in upper campus, maybe lower campus? Do you want to be close to the dining hall? Do you want to be close to a certain place on campus? All of those things should be a part of the consideration whenever you're updating your building preferences on your housing application. When it comes to meal plans, these are the meal plans that first years have as options on their housing application. And it might seem a little daunting to choose your meal plan this early in the process. However, whatever you pick today isn't the end all be all. So we will assign your meal plan whenever we create your assignment for your housing as well come this summer. And you have the opportunity to change your meal plan up until add drop in the fall term. So if you find that maybe you chose the unlimited with 300 dining dollars on your application and that's what you were assigned, but then maybe you join a club when you get to Pitt and you're away on the weekends, maybe traveling or doing club things, and you're not really utilizing your meal plan on the weekends, then maybe that weekday unlimited is the better option for you. And you do have until add drop, like I said, to change your meal plan and get it updated with no real, we don't penalize you at all if you change your meal plan up until add drop. A couple of things that I want to go over with the meal plans. Some students do get confused. So When we say like unlimited, those are swipes. So those are swipes that you're going to be using to get in and out of the eatery or the perch, which are the all you care to eat facilities on campus. And we also have options on campus that you can use a swipe to like at Chick-fil-A or Taco Bell to maybe exchange for one of their meals. And that is actually called a meal exchange. So Chick-fil-A may have a meal deal like a sandwich, drink, and fries that you can just use a swipe for. And then you don't actually have to use any dining dollars for. So you get one meal exchange per day with those meal plans. And then the dining dollars are dollar for dollar. Oh my gosh, the word for dollar you can use at like coffee carts, Starbucks, places on campus that you wouldn't necessarily have to use like your ATM card at. So you can use it at any of the places in the Union, any places in the Pitt, any place in the Cathedral, any on-campus dining facility you can use dining dollars at. It's usually Panther funds that you would use off campus, like at Panera or Permane Brothers, places like that. You can't use your dining dollars there. You can only use dining dollars on campus. So I'm not quite sure if we have students or parents on this Zoom today, but if you are the student, this is what your first year portal looks like. And if you look under step 1, that is the most important part of the portal, which is completing your housing application. And that is what is due by May 1st at this point. And then the second part, the application, which would be updating your preferences and applying for an LLC. Those are both due by June 1st. So I will actually be going into the portal so that you can see what it looks like to update your preferences. But most important thing is making sure that you complete your housing app by May 1st. Some resources that are available to you as a Pitt student. We have the Housing Services website. This is where you can find important dates and deadlines. You can find more links to upcoming Zoom sessions. This is where building information is and meal plan information. That's all going to be on our pc.pitt.edu website. Panther Central is also a really great resource. You can call, chat, or email them. They're open 24/7. Someone will always get back to you. And if they're not able to answer your question, they will direct the questions to us so that we are able to make sure you're getting the right answer. And then also, if you have a question that you think would benefit the greater group, then you can always sign up for an upcoming Zoom session and drop your questions into the chat where we answer them at the end of the Zoom sessions. So before I open it up to Q&A, I am actually going to open up that portal like I had said before, what it looks like for our first year students. So I set myself up as a first year student. I already completed my housing application, and maybe I want to go in now and update a couple of my preferences because some things have changed since I since I completed my housing app. And once you complete your app, you should never have to go back into it. All these questions here are what will update your application from here on forward. So you can see here, it asks if I'm interested in 12-month housing, if I have a freshman LLC request, if I'm interested in the Resident Student Association, if I'm applying for an LLC, but I also have a roommate request, what my assignment priority might be. So we usually ask students who have both to prioritize one or the other, because we do have cases where LLCs don't have enough room to include roommate requests. And then we do have to reach out to students to say, do you want to be a part of the LLC, or would you rather live with your roommate outside of the LLC? And this is sometimes where we can get that answer. This is also where I can update my preferences. So maybe I don't want to live in a suite anymore and I'm only interested in living in doubles. This is where I'm going to go in and update that. And then maybe when I originally completed my housing application, I stayed up late, and maybe when I get to college, I want to have more structure in my routine. So maybe I don't want to stay up late. So I come in here and update my roommate matching preferences. And then maybe I met somebody on one of the Pitt Facebook pages, or I found out one of my friends is coming to Pitt, so I want to include them in a roommate group. And in order to do that, you want to designate one person as the leader. So that would be me. And I'm going to invite my friend Holly to live with me. So I just need Holly's PeopleSoft number. Oops. There's Holly. And you can see now that Holly has been invited into my group. And once Holly goes on to complete her housing application, this will show up in her housing app. And instead of remove, it'll say accept or decline for her. And she can either accept my invitation or decline my invitation. And once she hits accept, then it'll say leader and a member. And that's how we designate full groups. So you must be a leader or you must be a member of a group. It cannot say invited. But if Holly has already completed her housing application, then she should just go into her preferences page and click accept. But let's say that the two of us actually meet a third person in May, and that third person wants to be the leader, then all that I would have to do now is remove Holly, and I want to leave my group, and now I'm not in any roommate group, and now my friend can invite us to be a part of her group, because you can only be a part of one group at a time. And then this is where you can also update your meal plan preference up until June 1st. So I'm finished with all of that. I'm going to hit done. And now it's all saved. And now my application has been updated with all of my new preferences. And I can do that, like I said, as many times as I want until June 1st. So at this time, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to open up the floor for Q&A. And if you have a question, to just drop it into the chat and then I can answer it for the group. And I'm going to wait a couple of seconds to see if any messages come up, but if not, I am going to drop this link here, which is the resource page on Panther Central's website, in case you have any more housing questions, and to let you know that we do have all of our other videos that have been completed these past other Tuesdays posted on our website. So if you have any questions, to maybe check those out as well to see if it's been answered before. So Josh asked if you want to live in the Honors LLC in an 8-person suite, does everyone have to be in the Honors College in order to be in the LLC? So not necessarily. It just depends on how much room Honors has for students who aren't a part of the LLC. So I'll say this. If you've been accepted into the Honors College and you still want to be a part of the LLC, you still have to apply for the LLC. By getting into the Honors College, it doesn't automatically enroll you into the LLC. They need that application. If you have friends that are not a part of the Honors College that want to live in the LLC with you, I would have them also apply to the LLC because Honors will be more likely to accept people that are in the LLC to be roommates rather than Honors College. And then if they have enough space to pull people not in Honors College, because I know they prioritize Honors College students to live in the LLC, then they would make room for your friends to live in an 8-person suite. But I will say that if they don't have room, and there are years that they turn people away, and then there are years that they are able to pull in students that aren't in LLC, we do have other 8-person spaces available in Sutherland. So even if you don't want to live in the LLC, you want to live with your friends over the LLC, you might still be able to live in Sutherland and be a part of the LLC, but not live in East or West. It would just be the opposite one. And then you'd be a part of the programming in the other building, if that makes sense. We've had students that lived in the whole building and then just are included in the LLC without living in the actual building with the LLC. So cool. All Are there any other questions? Okay, well, if there are no other questions, I will actually end the Zoom here. And then if you have any questions, please follow up with Panther Central. We'd be happy to answer your questions. There's plenty of time to figure out preferences and LLC questions and roommate information between now and June 1st. So please reach out. We'd love to help. And we're super excited to have you on campus for the fall. And if you need anything to let us know. Thank you so much.